Amanda Cooper, and I'm the curator for the Morean Art Center, and I can't tell you how happy I am to see all of you here tonight in support of this amazing artist here. It's great to see all your faces here on a Thursday night with the weather not being so great. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm just going to say a few words about Patricia before you hear from the artist herself. First of all, how many of you have never been to the Morean before? Has everyone been here before? Looking around the Morean? Okay, well, terrific. So I met Patricia probably a few years ago. I mean, she's been in all kinds of local art exhibitions. I've always loved her work. And back in February, we had a fundraiser for the Morean called Iconic. Was anybody at that event? Okay. And it was I know you're probably going to talk about it, so I won't go into too much detail, but it was a plein air painting competition where we had several artists fan out across downtown St. Pete on a Saturday in February, and they painted outdoors live. And then we had an event where you could come and auction, all the paintings were up for auction, and then it was judged for prizes. And our friend Patricia here was one of the artists, and she did a fabulous painting on the corner of Beach Drive, right? And it actually was the painting that I believe got the most bids that night. A lot of people fighting over it, and it won first place. So part of the prize for first place was getting a solo show here at the Morean later in the year. And she was a good sport about it because it was only a few months later, and here we are. So we're so privileged and honored to have Patricia's work here during this time, and it's been a great exhibition. People love looking at it. They recognize some of the landmarks. We just sold a Don Cesar painting recently, so that's going to a good home in Tierra Verde. We're excited about that. I should say all the back in here is for sale. And without further ado, Patricia.
I'm super happy to be here. It's a big honor to be at the Morean. It was one of my, how do you call it? Goals. Yes, you know, that you put your little dream stuff. So one of them was to be here. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna try to. I'm super nervous. Yeah, but I think when I start talking, maybe hopefully I'll get a little bit calmer. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I think that's in my paintings. I was born, my name is Patricia Kluwe-Derderian. Kluwe is German. Sometimes people ask me, how do you say that? I have no idea, I don't speak German. And Derderian is my husband's name, is French Armenian. I was born in Brazil. But not this one. This is the Brazil, and this is Amazon. Very beautiful view there, but not from me. And this is Rio, not from there either. Yes. Not here too. That's very beautiful. This is Salvador, Bahia, so where the Baianas come from. This is my Brazil. Yes, so in the corner, in the final south of Brazil, in the border with Uruguay and Argentina, we have very similar culture with them. So we have cowboys that we call gauchos, in Brazilian. And we have a lot of people that came from Italy in our part of the country. And so we have wine and grape, lots of Italian culture there. We have these beautiful canyons. If you go there, it's a must see. This here, the down part is the city where I was living for my college. It's the capital of the southern state. It's called Porto Alegre. It's a very important part of our culture, o mate, or chimarrão. There is this kind of drink that you can see in the middle. And it's like very important, really. We do it every day. Like most people, we drink it during our, when we're at work, all day long, on the weekends we go to the parks to drink chimarrão. We call our friends and we sit on the floor and we just drink chimarrão. And we start very early. So this is my little girl. I was introducing her to my mom. Half of my family is from has origins from Italy, and the other half, like a good Brazilian, a mix of everything. And part of it came from Uruguay. This is my grandfather, and he would hate it if he knew he was here, and secretly be very emotional about it. That's very tough on the outside and very, very kind on the inside. And he's a typical gaucho. He worked in on the cattle farm, and my mother would kill me because of that couch. So this is a map of South America with Brazil on it, and just a comparison with US in terms of size. It's a huge country, and you might already know that. But so just to have an idea of position, this is where Rio is. Jericoacoara in the extreme north is where me and my husband got married. Some of my work is about that, so you're gonna see it. This is Iguaçu Falls. It's one of the amazing things of the world. Maybe you heard about it too. And this is Bagé, the little town where I was born in the border with Uruguay. That is the green little country there. Okay, so I always love to draw and everything related to arts. But when I needed to choose a career, I didn't even think about arts as an option in the little town where I came from. So I thought about marine biology, biomedicine, chemistry, all stuff. And then my best friend at the time came to me, why not architecture? And it was like a wow moment for me because I had not thought about it, and it was just so perfect. I was like, oh my God. I grew up with my uncle that was doing architecture, and I was a kid, and I would see him drawing and working on his projects and doing these little buildings. It was like, and the smell of the colored pencils in his room was just like magical to me. So like to think about it, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's what I'm gonna do. So I did it. So I loved architecture school. I discovered how artistic it is, and I learned a lot about having a concept to your projects. I studied art history, many drawing lessons, my favorite part, and it was super creative. And I read a book that is called Tracing Porto Alegre, the translation. And Porto Alegre is the name of the capital where I was living when I did that, and it's changed the way that I see and interpret cities. It was a very poetic book, and it talked about how we perceive our cities and how great it is to turn a corner and be surprised. And so I started looking for that feeling everywhere I went, and I became passionate about how magic it is to create a space and how the spaces change, how we feel and how we interact. Then I met my husband, a French guy living in Brazil for almost 10 years. Passionate about life, Brazil, and traveling. So he knew Brazil better than I did, and he wanted to show my country to me. And the first travel we did was to Rio de Janeiro, and it was like, wow, the first time that I visit that Brazil that people talk about. So I was visiting my country for the first time. It was such an amazing experience. They had little monkeys and had big leaves, all that very tropical stuff. It was very cool. And I did some paintings about it later on, inspired by these memories. All these series of memories, I never use any pictures to it. I don't want to, I just want to see what's left in the memory. So it was very fun to look for these pictures now and put them together and finally compare like my memories of the place to what it really looked like. This is a little bit more of that trip, and this is another painting I did inspired by those moments. And I call it Rio is Rio. It's a view from the upper part of, after you take the bondinho, I don't know how to say it in English. Then we went to the Iguaçu Falls. Same thing, I was like, oh, you're gonna do a lot of money, do all the way to go see falls. what's the point? And then you go there and like, oh yeah. The falls are into you. You become, it's crazy. It's like this energy, everything vibrates. It's like I have goosebumps just talking about it. It's just, it was an amazing experience. And for the first time I saw toucan just on the tree, just there hanging there like a normal little bird. And I was like, wow. I cried. I'm very sensitive. This is a painting that I did inspired by that trip. You can see the toucan there on the corner. And this is when we went to Trancoso, Bahia, in the north part. And this is a little town, it's like a fishing town, and they have this square in the middle. It's a big square. They call it o quadrado, literally the square in Portuguese. And they have this little church on the end. And behind that church, you just have the hill and the sea. It's a magical place. Recommend you go in there too. And this is the painting that I did of that memory. It's very cool. In the corners here, you see the old simple houses, and they have restaurants and little things. This is Paraty, close to Rio. And I love this trip because it's the place where we saw the traditional carnival. Because you see like that carnival with all the crazy stuff, but this is like the traditional style. You have these blocos that we call. It's where people gather, they wear the same shirts, and they go after the band, like kind of like what they do in New Orleans. I think something similar. And it was amazing too. Very Brazilian. I was very cool to see this part of my country. This is a painting I did inspire on those memories. And this is Jericoacoara. Remember the extreme north of Brazil where I got married? We chose this place because it was closer to France and Brazil. But it's far from me, but it was kind of midway. And this is another place that you see the pictures, you're like, no, there's nothing, and you go there, you put your feet on the sand, and you don't want to leave anymore. The quantity of people that we know that left everything and they're just there working on anything just to be there, it's amazing. And our ceremony was our best friends. They did the ceremony. It had no religion. It was the religion of love. And it was the most magical weeks with all close friends and family. This is one of the paintings that I did inspire on those memories. I call this series Love Matters. Then I had the chance to come to the US. I was working as an architect at a public bank at the time, and we came to Augusta, Georgia. Yes, I was like, okay, cool, new life, I can do and be whatever I want to be, and my dream life was to be an artist. So let's try that, I want to do that. And it was awesome. When we got to Augusta, though, it was a big shock. Because I was telling my husband, I like to walk. I was like, I'm going to walk, I didn't want to drive. And you don't worry, you're going to need to drive. And they're like, no, we can walk a lot. And then I arrived there, we went to the hotel, and I looked at him and asked, where is the city? And I cried for a week. I turned the TV on, and it looks like it's not true, but it's true. I turned the TV on in the middle of my crisis, and there was this chasing channel where they were chasing bears and baby bears. It was like a complete disaster. I was like, where is this place going? Eventually we found our friends, and we had an amazing 2 years there. Everything turned out okay. And I did as many art classes as I could. All kinds of mediums, techniques, subjects, everything, with amazing teachers. And I saw my first painting there on a municipal building. And then we had the opportunity to come to Tampa Bay. It was amazing. I'm super happy to be here. And since I arrived, I started applying to small shows everywhere, here and there. I participated at the Art contest and fundraiser, where they asked I don't actually didn't ask us. I decided, I think, I don't even remember, to do something related to the birchwood. And it was the first time that I mixed my love for drawing with painting and architecture. And I love that feeling, it made sense. It was like, I love it, it's just, it looks like me. And then the next year I participated again, and I created my first piece that is from a collection of icons inspired by Carmen Miranda, Tropicalia movement. That is like an anti-extreme nationalism movement that happened in the late 60s. And later on I also was inspired by other artists that challenged the norms of their times. This painting won 3rd place, and it was worn by the staff of the Birchwood for a year, along with the other 2 winners. There was Diane Bradel and Nicholas Sucius. It was pretty cool. So then I had the amazing of so many artists from the community. I cannot thank enough. And if I had to make a list, I would always forget people, but I know who they are and they know that they're in my heart. And they helped me a lot in the beginning for little tips here and there, how to get what I needed, the grids or whatever it is, to be able to apply to a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger shows. And then I was brave enough, my husband pushed me actually, to apply for the Creative Pinellas Emerging Artist Grant. And for my surprise, I got it in 2020. And it was a very meaningful experience to me. I had this mentor, Kathleen Alberton. She was amazing. She was like a psychologist. She would sit there and just ask questions. And I'm like, oh, I never thought about it. She just made me talk. It was amazing. And from this show, I started my childhood series. Remember my grandpa? He's in almost in lots of paintings that I did. You can see him sitting there in the corner with the fireplace. I'm drinking mate here, and my grandmother is there. These are just like thumbnails and little sketches that I did when I was preparing for the exhibit. This is the same living room. He's sitting here with his bombachas. There's the typical pads of the gauchos. He always did. This is my father playing the guitar for me and my sister. We're sitting there, and you can see by the telephone it's like an old painting. Then I started to do art shows. And at one of Papa's show in Golf Courts, I met Brenda McMahon, that is here, and she liked my work, and eventually she invited me to show her gallery, and later on to be represented by her. So she's a wonderful person and has been a great mentor to me these years too. Thank you, Brenda. Then in 2021, I had my first big solo exhibit at the Mirella Simata Gallery close by. Mirella is here too.
Yes.
Thank you, Mirella. It was an amazing opportunity. First time I had like a big body of work all together, and I think it's a very important step for us to also know ourselves as an artist. It's interesting to put yourself in that position. Then with the Beyond the Walls program from Creative Pinellas, I exhibited my work at the Dom Cesar, and I have been there ever since as their resident artist. That's my grandmother there that came to visit. It was a very important moment for me. I applied and was one of the artists chosen to create art for the Signal Box in Tarpon Springs, sorry. It was a very cool experience to create art specifically for that place and like think about proportions, and I did an original painting and they put it on a vinyl wrap. It was with Creative Pinellas too that I applied. This year I was very happy to have been chosen as one of the local artist spotlights along with 5 other artists from the region. It was a great experience too. This is my work at Fort Lauderdale. I'm slowly going I'm going south a little bit. And this is here at the Morean Morean, so when I went to the fundraiser, where my painting got the jury's choice, and that's why I'm here with you guys today. And I'm super happy that this month I was featured at the St. Pete Live. I'm a little bit nervous here. I think I lost. Yes. So I think I understood Marcia Biggs that she saw my work at Brenda's, and she contacted me. She went to my atelier, talked to me, and she did this amazing article, and I'm super happy about it. And I think it's still this month, and they still have it at the Chamber of Commerce. There you go. So I paint what I love, and this relationship between places and people, and how we interact with each other, how the places make us feel, and its vibrancy. In the travel series, that is this more abstract pieces, I explore the relationship through memories and feelings related to it. Like a dream, when you are with someone and you know it's that person, but you just don't see its face, but you just know it's this person. So my next step now, I think I'm always trying to stretch out of my comfort zone. Like being here talking to you is the first step. Thank you for being so patient. And I have another fear that I think, I don't know why, but I have a fear of painting on anything that is not canvas or paper. I don't know why. Maybe it's from childhood. Don't draw on the walls. I've never done it because I've always wanted to do things like the way it should be. Maybe that's probably it. But so I decided I want to draw on walls. So I applied to this mentorship, and I was accepted, and I will start on September at Fort Lauderdale. This mentorship, 3 weeks, to learn to paint the walls and to overcome this fear. And then hopefully I'll unblock it. But before that, I'm also now preparing for my solo show inside the St. Pete Opera Company. It's called Bridging Horizons, and will show this connection between Brazil, US, and France. September and October. The receptions are on second Saturdays, and I would love to see you all there. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Patricia? Yes.
First of all, we love your work. Could you explain how when I look at like when you portray people and individuals in your paintings, they all have sort of a similar, interesting shape.
Mm-hmm.
And could you sort of explain how that evolved and came about?
Yes, thank you. It started when I started to draw in architecture, and I was doing all the projects by hand, not the event, but all the ideas, and learn how to do it freehand. And I was fascinated by when you finish the drawing, I have to put a person on the side to give proportion, because you can do whatever it is, you don't know the proportion. Once you put a little person on the side, it magically becomes a building. And I just love that. And I started to be very good at it, and I remember all my projects I did by hand. I never used like it was already people using like all this electronic stuff. I just wanted to draw. So I drew very small, and then I just put it on the computer and blew it up, and I just printed to show my projects. And eventually my little people started to get their own little way of being, and I had some friends that called me and they wanted to do tattoos with my little, it kind of became my signature. Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yes.
When you studied art history, were there any particular artists that stood out to you that maybe eventually influenced your own work?
Thank you. You know, when I was doing art history, I remember that I loved them all, but I obviously fell in love with all the modernist painters. And until that time, I was not thinking about going to this way. What happened is later on, I had already started painting. I was already doing my cityscapes, and I went to MoMA, and I discovered that I love Matisse so much that I wanted all of their paintings in my home. If I could, I would buy them all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So what's next? That? Yeah. Oh, I don't think I have.